What's going on, guys? My name is Lamar Tyler, creator and founder of Traffic Sales and Profit. Again, we're here with today's Lunch and Learn. We have with us the CEO of CurlMix, Kim Lewis. Before I bring her on, I want to tell you a little bit about who she is and what she has been doing up to this point, because they are rocking it out. Kim Lewis, CEO and co-founder of CurlMix, a clean beauty brand for curly hair. After a strong showing on season 10 of Shark Tank with her husband and co-founder Tim, Kim made a daring decision to bet on herself and turn down a $400,000 Shark Tank deal. Are y'all listening to me? $400K. Who could have done that? Let me know in the chat if you would have felt comfortable turning down $400K and betting on yourself. Less than 6 months later, Kim's talent for logistics and marketing helped her secure a seed investment of $1.2 million. CurlMix sales catapulted to $6 million in annual revenue just the next year, and they have earned over $13 million in the business, right? Lifetime in the business, all of it online. They were recently featured in Forbes 30 Under 30 and Oprah's Favorite Things, all while raising 2 small boys. Their company operates a manufacturing facility in the heart of her hometown, Chicago, where Kim and Tim employ a full-time staff of 30-plus minorities and women. Currently, she is making history by allowing her customers and community to invest and own shares in their beauty brand. Kim raised nearly $3 million in just 1 week, y'all. Today is literally the 1 week mark. We just kicked this thing off last Tuesday. And she raised that from her community. Her customers only fitness as a community is the heart of every decision they make. We're going live right now with this amazing young lady, Kim Lewis. Y'all, welcome to the TSP stage. Show some love down in the comments for Kim Lewis. Hey, what's going on, Kim?
What's up, Lamar? Thank you for having me. I got to put you in my bio. Join TSP community, and her business took off.
I love that. So, first of all, congratulations, right? This has been a big week, like you just mentioned, right? Today is literally within 7 days, right? You guys have raised just under $3 million. I'm hoping we hit that $3 million mark today. Why not? Hey, maybe we hit it on the interview, right? Maybe some people can say, hey, I want to piece that thing and we hit it on the interview.
I would love it.
But it's great. For the people that don't know, you don't know what CurlMix is. Can you, I guess, tell briefly, right, like how we got to where we are today?
So CurlMix is a clean beauty brand for curly hair. We help women get the best wash and go ever, and our hero product is our flaxseed gel. So if you guys see my hair and you like my hair, this is what CurlMix does. And basically we help other women get the same style. But we started as a DIY box for curly hair. So think like Blue Apron, but for hair. And we did it for a couple years and found out that people loved our flaxseed gel and pivoted our entire business more towards a wash and go lifestyle brand, because that's pretty much what our customers love.
All right. And as we're talking, Kim, so what you did last week, right? And I know we got a lot of new people in the group, right? Actually, a lot of people came through an article they read about you. So it's fitting that we got you here. We got a lot of some articles here. People been coming through the doors. So tell us what you did last week. Like, what was it last week that you launched? For the people that may not understand it, like, why did you launch it? Can you give me a little background on that?
So you guys, in my bio, Lamar mentioned that we raised $1.2 million from the CEO or former CEO of LinkedIn and some other partners. Now, typically you get like a seed investment. So that's what we would call it, the seed stage. And then once you kind of like do a multiple of revenue, right? So we ended up 5xing our revenue from 1 million to, or 6xing to 6 million, right? You go out and raise another round of funding. So all the big tech companies do it, right? So I'm talking Uber, Shopify, any Apple, like whatever, like the big tech companies, just how most of them start off. And they use this money to feed the growth. And so I basically could go and do another investment round where I sell 17% of my company to somebody who don't look like me, right? That y'all wouldn't know about. Do it behind closed doors, because that's what most people do. And basically, if we were to, sell for a couple $100 million, or if we would ever go public, they would have early shares, right? So when you go public or to be on trade on the stock market, you got to be doing 100 million in revenue, right? But if we were doing if they invest and we were doing 5 million, they're going to get a multiple on their investment, right? But what I did instead, I said, hey, I don't want to give this value to somebody who doesn't look like me. I want to give it to my customers. I want to give it to my community. How can I allow my community to pull together and invest $5 million in our brand? And equity crowdfunding was the way to do it. So it's still very new. The law came into place in 2012. And just recently, the law changed to be able to allow you to raise up to $5 million versus the 1 million that was last year. And so basically, I did it takes about 6 weeks to kind of get all of my paperwork in order and all of that together. And then we launched a campaign to our customers on Tuesday morning at 8:00. And we raised, I want to say like $1 million in 4 hours, which is crazy. And then so far in a week, we've raised almost 3 million. So, and it's closer to that, Lamar, but because I have larger checks that have to be confirmed first, actually they don't show up in the total. So the total is actually 3 million, but it doesn't show up just yet on the platform.
All right, awesome. So that's amazing, Kim. So one of the things I wanted to make sure that we talked about is the fact that what y'all have done is not common, right? Because I know you know, I always know our buddy Freddie, right? He always said like, hey, like at TSP, we normalize Black excellence. But what I don't want people to do is like when stuff needs to be made a big deal out of it, I like to make a big deal out of it. So it's not often that Black founders raise 7 figures in revenue, period, right? Then we talking about Black women that are founders, right? It's a limited amount that have raised, you know, over 7 figures in general, right?
93.
Only 93, y'all. Not even 100. Only 93.
According to Project Diane from Digital Undivided, it has been 93 Black women to raise a little over $1 million. It's kind of sad. It's less than 1% of venture capital when you consider that there are literally billions going into venture, and 93 of us have raised a little over $1 million. And I don't know too many people who raised more than like 10. So those you probably count in 2 hands, you know.
So when we look at the fact that y'all raised $1 million from your community, right? Your customers, people that literally go and they buy the products online, they use it, they love y'all, right? With the base of this thing in 4 hours?
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? I'm curious.
So first of all, I was nervous about launching a campaign because for, you know, Black folks don't talk about money, right? So like people always talk about, I'm gonna open up my whole business and just show y'all everything. Like, this is how much we're making. This is our lifetime value. This is our CAC. This is our all of that. So I was super nervous. But I'm also an open book. So in many ways, I don't mind sharing the details with people, right? But it's kind of scary, right? It's just like putting it all out there. And then before we are able to like take anyone's money, we'll have to show audited financials. And that will be coming. It just takes a minute to do the audit. So no worries if you're like, I want to see like cost of goods sold and marketing expenses and all of that. That's coming. I just can't put it out there without it being audited first. But I was freaking out at first. And so when people started when I started seeing the number climb by like 100,000, when I was just refreshing, I was like, is this real? Like, are people, I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, well, maybe I got some trolls in here putting in like 50K, 100K just to be like, I'm gonna just mess with her. But then when I did the math, we had like almost 4,000 investors. And after a few days, the average investment was like $500. So it's not somebody in there like throwing a big check in there to inflate the number. It's legitimately people who are investing $250, $500, and it's their first time investing ever. And they're doing it with CurlMix. And so that almost made me cry. Like, that was moving for me. That was, yeah. People just, the belief in us was just made me want to cry.
Now, that was amazing. Because like I said, we were watching it in the group, right? You know, it was funny because I thought I was the only one screenshotting, but a lot of the members in the group were like, they're like, I'm refreshing, right? I mean, we was like 990,000 and some change. Like, people's like, I'm refreshing. Then people's like,
you
to get like that.
Before I heard you, we had even done $1 million. Like, I was like, Lamar, what? I'm like, oh, let me go look.
I couldn't focus last week. I said this was not a good week between y'all and Dr. Nika. I just wasn't productive last week.
That's so funny.
So the goal, right? So let's talk about you know, where we are now, and the goal and everything. And I see some people were asking, so I'm gonna drop that down in the chat, right? You guys want information is wefunder.com/CurlMix. So I'm gonna drop that down in the chat for you right now. But let's talk about the goal. Like, what are you guys trying to do, right? Because and I'll bring the screen up so you guys can see exactly what it looks like and where we are. There you go. So that's what it looks like, folks. Right now we're at $2,808,187. So what is the goal, Kim? Like, where are you guys trying to get to? How much time do you have left to get there? Because, you know, with crowdfunding, normally some type of time limit. Like, what does that look like?
So my friend, who was one of the first Latinx women to raise $1 million from equity crowdfunding, she said it took her 3 months to raise $1 million. And so I was like, so she said, Kim, you're absolutely crushing it. And I was like, what? And I'm like, I had no idea. So it is not normal, like you were saying, how we're doing it. My goal is to get to I want to raise the maximum amount of crowdfunding, which is approximately 5 million. And I want to get there as soon as possible. So there's no time limit. It's not like, oh, you know, we close in 90 days. It's as fast as we can raise it. So if it's raised in a week from now, then like that's it. And so people have been asking, like, will I be able to invest later? And it does not work like that. Once the round is closed, it is closed. So if you put in whatever you want to put in now, because we will not be able to extend the round or open up more, take in more money, because I don't want to sell more equity out of what I'm selling. You know what I mean? So what people also need to understand is that you're not donating. So you are buying shares in the company. So that means if CurlMix ever goes public, your shares will be on the stock market and you'll be an early investor, which early investors have some of the highest returns. Now, we are a startup, so I have to say it is a risky investment. And I want you guys to understand that. So please do not go and if you were going to buy a house and just put all the money you were going to spend on buying your house and put it, because it's angel investing, right? I want you to be able to eat tomorrow. So put in what's comfortable. But this is how wealth is created, right? So investing early in the early stages of Uber. I wish I had bought an Apple. I wish I had bought Apple stock in 2005 when I spent $400 on an iPad. You know how much more money I would have right now? I was like, so it's keep in mind, it's you buying shares and hoping to participate in a liquidity event. So what's a liquidity event? If we go public, so we're traded on the New York Stock Exchange, or if we sell our company. So I don't know, y'all will see headlines of natural hair companies selling for $100 million, hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever. And y'all be salty because y'all don't get none, right? You're like, you're leaving the community. But if you was making some money on that, you might feel differently. You might be like, go on, shoot your shot, do what you're doing. But in order to do that, you got to get in on the ground stage. And so that's just how investing works.
All right. I love it. I was just about to say the same thing, right? This time when they saw something happen, everybody wouldn't have to be salty, they sold us out.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, return on my investment. That's what you mean.
Exactly. I love it. Folks are going crazy. People ask how they can invest. Hey, I'm going to drop the link in the chat one more time to make sure you have that, because I know y'all have questions about it. Also, y'all, I want to make sure you guys get a chance to ask questions, because a lot of you have already, invested. So a lot of you may be the first time hearing from Kim. A lot of you saw the articles going around the web. I saw somebody just said, hey, that's how I found TSP, because I read the article. And you may not have got a chance to learn directly or hear directly from Kim too. So make sure you drop your questions in the chat. We got a few minutes. I'm going to ask her some of your questions over the next few minutes to make sure you guys get a chance to get those in. And so, Kim, I want to talk about something you just said, right? She said a lot of times people think and they say, hey, I wish I would have had a chance to invest early. And a lot of times I think we have historically thought investing early was when something IPO'd, a company IPO'd, and it first got on the stock market. But what I've learned, right, in wealth creation is that the people invest early, when it hit the actual stock market, they'd have made all their money already, right? And those are people that are private investors like you talk about. And Rita, you talked about earlier, what's interesting is that up until recently, regular people didn't actually have an opportunity, right, unless you were friends and family, to find companies or invest in companies like this. So what do you think this whole atmosphere of crowdfunding and raising equity through crowdfunding and letting regular people do you think that'll shift some things around the outlook of wealth? Will that shift wealth creation in the Black community, help us close the wealth? What is that? Man, you got a front row seat to it right now. What do you think that'll do?
So what's really funny is when I mentioned equity crowdfunding to a lot of my investors, they were like, what is that? They sometimes either they're like, if they don't know about it, they're like, I didn't know this existed. And if they do know about it, they're like, they snub at it a little bit, because what it does is it equals the playing field. So if Black and brown founders can go to their customers to get funding, if they can go to their community to get funding, because what happens, right? Early stages, some of these companies who are raising $10 million, $20 million, they got no revenue, especially if they're tech, right? They're not making any money yet. You're just investing in their idea. And 90% of them fail, right? So what this means is that if a company is overfunded or well-funded, even if their business sucks in the first 3 to 5 years, if they eventually figure it out, they've been funded so much they have a longer runway of being successful. So what that means is that if someone holding the check doesn't find the business valuable, even if they are making money, even if they are hitting all the metrics, then the business won't get funded. And so it really has to do with if that person believes in you. But let's say if I'm talking to a cis male, white male investor, right? This is not to knock all white men, because I have the former CEO of LinkedIn is Jeff Weiner, and I love Jeff. So, but let's just say I'm talking to someone like him, or not him, but someone else, right? And they don't think that Black hair care is lucrative. They don't think that curly hair is lucrative. They don't think that Black people is too niche. You know what I mean? Then we won't get funded. We just won't get funded because they don't believe in it. It has nothing to do with if I'm hitting the metrics, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It just means that they don't believe it. So you don't get funded. And if you don't get funded, your businesses, we don't have Black unicorns, right? We won't have billion-dollar companies that are led by Black people because they're not getting funded. So equity crowdfunding eliminates that. If you say, I can build a business, I can build a community that will fund my business, then you can go and raise a Series A. You can go and raise 20, 10, $50 million, whatever. And I think that's scary because it democratizes equity, and it democratizes this whole venture capital realm that was reserved for accredited investors or the elite. And accredited simply just means you make a certain amount of money. And I'm like, that's not fair that investing is limited to the people making $250K or more. Like that means that only the rich can keep getting richer. And so equity crowdfunding eliminates that. And I think that is phenomenal, and it's going to change venture forever.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go to the questions, right? We got a few questions down below I want to take. Somebody asked this, but you already answered it. But can you answer it again? Because I know it's going to keep coming up. They said, when would a round close?
As soon as we raise as soon as we get to the max, like it's not going to be like a 10-day window or a 30-day or a 90-day. It's purely once we raise the amount that we're looking to raise, it will close.
All right. Awesome. Somebody said, I got excited. Somebody else said, proud of you. Somebody was shocked, said, oh, wow, we can still get in. Y'all keep asking for the link. I dropped the link in the chat, y'all, and I pinned it, so you should be able to see it. And good. Somebody said, this is so dope. Congratulations, have to be an investor from the beginning. Go CurlMix. Here's a good question. Somebody said, when do you know your business is ready for crowdfunding?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I would say if you have, so people do it before they have, like when they have nothing, right? So you just starting out, you can crowdfund. It's just going to be hard because you're already having a hard time getting customers, right? I would say if you've been in business for a couple of years, you got a solid base of customers, maybe, I don't know, I would say at least 10,000 customers over the course of your lifetime of business, then you could go after crowdfunding. We have over 100,000 customers. So I already knew I bet I was bringing the crowd. Like you have to bring your own crowd to fund you. So wefunder.com/CurlMix is where we're hosted. WeFunder has not sent out an email on our behalf yet. They have 1 million investors on their platform, but they haven't really done a whole lot of promoting just yet. So that money that we raised has come from the CurlMix community, come from the TSP community, has come from Arlen's Backstage Capital community, has come from just like my network, right? And we were doing 6 million annually. So let's say you're doing 500,000 annually, and you could definitely crowdfund. It might take you a little bit longer, but you could probably get to the million. I almost think you can crowdfund whatever you've raised in whatever you've made in revenue. That I think would be a good metric. So I think, CurlMix has made 6 million, and we left it open for a month, we could probably raise 6 million. If we had only made 100,000, we'd probably raise 100,000 in a month. I think it just depends on the size of your crowd.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate that so much. Let me see some of the comments. I just want to read them because they're going off in the comments. Somebody said, I'm so glad that you're showing us what's possible. What's up, Nancy Bradford, Mastermind Family said, Kim is teaching today. Awesome.
He'll be like, when you say something cool, he'd be like, oh, you speaking.
Hey, y'all, make sure you tag your people and get them into the room too, right? I see people tagging a lot of people and getting in and making it happen. Awesome. Yes, democratizing equity. A lot of people quoting you. Here's a good one, right? Tina said, I'm invested, but the money has not come out of my account yet. Am I really invested?
Yes. So the way it works is you're reserving shares. So we have to file what we call the Form C. The Form C is going to have the share price. It's going to have all of our accounting, our liabilities, our revenue, top line, net, all of that. And because technically you might be an unaccredited investor or I'm getting money from the public, right? The SEC requires me to have audited financials. And so it takes a few weeks to get the audit done. So we're in the process of getting audited. And once that form is filed, we will file it with the SEC, and then the money will be removed from your account. So what you're doing is reserving shares right now. But if you link your bank account, then that puts the money in escrow, and that will mean that your investment is secure. It will be secure. So make sure to link your bank account or whatever when you sign up for WeFunder. But I wouldn't wait on it. So I would say that.
All right. Hey, good stuff. I got another a good one, right? Here's a good one. Somebody said, how have you and your husband, Tim, celebrated throughout this process? I knew that was stumping you. That's why I asked that one. They be working, y'all. They be working. They got the little babies.
We have not. You know what? We have a trip with the some folks in the mastermind coming up, so we'll celebrate there. We have not though. I have been working. I ain't nothing to celebrate yet. We ain't there. We still got to raise a couple more million.
Y'all, these are your dollars. These are your dollars at work. She not out here just willy nilly celebrating, right? Because she out here working, making these things. This is the kind of person that you've invested your hard earned funds into. All right.
Awesome. You on exotic trips with y'all money, okay?
That might have been a trick question, right? You answered properly. Good stuff. Shay said, "Can't wait to see them reach the $1 billion club." Ariel, what's up, Ariel? Mastermind fam said, "This is absolutely beautiful to be transparent and open." Angela said, "In what other ways have you seen growth or impact outside of crowdfunding, but by this campaign?" So what other ways, has this campaign, benefited or grown you guys other than the actual revenue?
Absolutely. So we always see a lift on our website traffic in general every time we do like media. And so we have seen a lift in just traffic in general on our personal website, CurlMix.com. We've also kind of like going viral on LinkedIn. And so our followers over there have doubled, which means I have like hundreds of DMs. And then other investors who either passed or who passed on me, who said, "Oh, I don't want to invest early on." They're like looking at the deal again, like, "Oh, maybe I made a mistake." That's my favorite thing to hear from an investor was like, I should have invested. One of my investors, one of the people who passed on me, I'm really cool with them now. And they do early stage investments. And they were like, "We should have invested." But he didn't understand the market. So he didn't, right? So this is the exact problem I'm talking about that equity crowdfunding is going to eliminate. What else have I seen? Just press the Black Enterprise article. There was an article 2 written on us in Black Enterprise. So thank you. Ms. Reinhardt, I know she wrote it. So there's definitely been a lift overall, and then just chatter about us. Everybody's talking about it because it's just never been done before. So
awesome. I love it. Between like I said, the Black Enterprise articles and Dante Lee's Black Business. It's been, I've seen both of them going viral. Every time I get online, I see article here, article there, article here, article there. It's following around all the social networks, from Facebook to LinkedIn to Twitter, all around the web. All right, good stuff. Real quick, Ro Asbury says, "So proud of this young lady. Keep going." Mastermind fan, Plant-Based Jeff said, "I invested because I believe in Tim and Kim." Good stuff. Here's a question from Ariel. She said, "Depending on your investment level, is there a different percentage of share once you become an IPO?"
So it just depends on how many shares you bought, right? So the reason I can't say the share price is SEC rules, because my Form C is not filed. I cannot say you'll buy a share for this amount of money and it will be this kind of return. I can't promise any returns or anything like that. Otherwise, the SEC will be knocking at my door. But what I can say is the easiest way for me to help you understand the math of it, take whatever you're investing and divide it by the pre-money plus what we're trying to raise, and that should give you a percentage of how much equity you own in the business. And then assume, let's say, assume a value for us in the future, and then figure out how that multiplies. And that will give you like, oh, my money could potentially grow this amount. But again, I can't make any promises because the SEC. So
good stuff. Shonda has a product question. She said, "I'm vegan and gluten-free. Is CurlMix and 4C only vegan?"
Shonda, it depends on the product. So our flaxseed gel, yes. But sometimes we make like one-off products for CurlMix Fresh, or we'll put honey in it. And so those, won't be. But generally speaking, yes. But I would say read the label because we make lots of different types of products.
All right, there we go. It's a lot of comments coming in about the celebrating. They're like, it's a big deal. Celebrate every step. Ariel said, yes, she works hard. Somebody else said, y'all better be celebrating. Hey, here's a good question for you, because you do have two young sons, right? Very young. Somebody said, how do you manage family and growing a business?
I have an amazing husband who is brilliant and that can give me advice and strategy on running the business and how to be successful in the business. But he also don't mind changing diapers and watching the kids and letting me work super late if I need to, and giving me a break when I need it. So he's a gem, and that is how. And my sister also watches my kids during the day. So it's a team. It's me, my sister, my husband, and my mama. All four of us are making it happen for the two little boys. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, by the way.
There we go. The village, right? The village is tying in to make this thing happen. I love it. Charlie said, where were you in your business when you joined TSP? What was the biggest difference TSP made for your business?
When I joined TSP, I had just pivoted my business and I was making $3,000 a month. We now make approximately $500,000 a month, and climbing. Revenue is actually up 70% Q1 2020 versus Q1 2021. And last year we made $6 million. So you guys can kind of do the math there. But that's just those are just historic metrics, not projections, right? And TSP taught me so much around, like, one of the first lessons I learned in TSP was it's easier to sell old customers new things than new customers anything. And that, like, a light bulb went off when Lamar said that to me. And so then we launched, additional fragrances and with different oils, and we launched, extensions of, the products that we had. Then I learned how to sell on the internet. I learned how to go live. I learned how to do a webinar. I just learned so much. So my business was brand spanking new in the top of 2018. And within, I want to say 3 to 4 months, we were doing within 5 months, we were doing 50K annually. I mean, 50K a month, sorry, 50K a month. And we did $1 million that year. So the year before I wasn't in the community, I had made $140,000. And then I pivoted my business the next year and made $1 million. And it did have some ad spend in there, but the first 4 months, I didn't spend any money on ads. And that got me to maybe $30,000 in revenue. Monthly, by the way. I gave out a bunch of numbers. I hope y'all are following.
Oh, they are. They following all the numbers. And what I will say, I get a disclaimer, y'all. Kim is a hustler, right? She out here, like I said, she's out here making it happen. She is probably one of, out of all the people I work with, she probably is one of the ones that is taking the most action. She always looking for the nugget. She looking for the insight. And when she get it, she not thinking about it. She not stuck on it. She not overthinking it. She literally implements, what she talk about or what she learned or what's in the room from everybody in the room and takes action. So again, right, I don't want anybody thinking TSP is some magic formula. It's some hocus pocus, right? And this is you looking at people. When you looking at Kim, you looking at Dr. Anika, you look at Ariel in the chat, you looking at people that are high execution people that go out and get it done because they're hungry for success.
And I will say Lamar, I've been a part of this community since the very beginning of my business, but I have not leaned on Lamar, Lamar, make my business a success. I have listened to the advice that he's given. I've implemented it, but I also have I have an advisor I meet with monthly that I've been meeting with maybe a couple months before Lamar. I met Lamar's community. I meet with him for an hour every month for the last 3 years. And I literally prepare a set of documents for him. This is our ROAS and performance on every single ad platform that we use. Here's how much, we have in liabilities and profit. Here's my 3 biggest wins, 3 biggest problems, and my plans for the future. And I've gone over that literally for 3 years, every single month. So I have 36 tabs on my Google Doc of so I can look at things historically. I also have a brand coach. Pay her quite a bit of money to help me understand branding and storytelling and to help me launch brands like 4C Only. And she's been phenomenal. So I'm also no stranger to paying for help. I have no problem with that.
Awesome. Hey, I'm curious, right? Because I know a lot of people hear that and they say, well, that's great, but I don't have the resources. I don't have the money to pay for help. If somebody's, early in that journey, like where you were, right? If you could, take yourself back before these $500,000 months, right? What would you say that? Because I know some people, I know how they think. What would you say to that person saying, well, that's cool, but I can't hire or afford all those people? What would you do or what would you advise them?
I mean, if you really believe in yourself, right? So different people tell you different things. They'll tell you, I've been running my business debt-free forever. I think that's great if you want to build something that's lifestyle and kind of small. The reality is a lot of these big businesses are built based on growth. Amazon was losing $125 million in the 90s, an annual, for financials. And so for me in the beginning, I used my own money to fund our business. So that meant that we put money on credit cards, buying stuff. We also sought out venture capital, so small checks. Arlen wrote me my first check ever for $25,000. And because I had spent maybe 20 to 50K of my own money before she ever wrote me a check, I knew exactly what to do with it and was able to turn that $25,000 into $1 million. And so you got to have some money from somewhere. You're not going to be starting with nothing, right? There's going to be some kind of financial investment at some point. And that's part of just business and risk, right? I just would say finding money will always be your job as a CEO. So if you feel helpless, I can't find any money, then maybe entrepreneurship isn't really for you. because that even to today, like raising around via equity crowdfunding is finding money. You know what I'm saying? So like that is a primary function of my job as CEO. So I would say you got to develop that skill.
I love that. I dare one of y'all to put that in the chat, to put it on Instagram, tag Tim, right? Finding money will always be your job as a CEO. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, final question. Because Angela asked, this is a good one. She said, "How did you prepare your team for the shift? It's clearly you're not filling bottles at night. So how did you prepare your team for the shift and growth? Which right? We can go back a couple times because first it was like the Shark Tank. Y'all appeared on Shark Tank, so that was like I don't know if that was the big. Has that been the biggest jump from like one day to the next, or has it been any other pieces that were as dramatic as pre and post Shark Tank?
Actually, I don't even know if Shark Tank was our highest day in revenue for us. So Dr. Nika has like something that she can sell for like everyone, which I think is beautiful. So like lashes is like, look, I'm a woman, I need lashes, no matter my hair texture. Curly hair is a bit more like skeptical. It's like, this is gonna work on my hair. Like I got special kind of hair, So I think the day we appeared on Shark Tank, we maybe did like 100K, I want to say. But Black Friday has been, I think Black Friday. Oh, I got to go back. But it was one of our first like super high days, like super, super high. And I want to say that was the year we went on Shark Tank. That Black Friday was huge. And I'm sure we got to get some other days, but the biggest lift I've had was when we went viral on the internet last year, because that lasted for months. Like Chance retweeted us on Twitter and like, it was like bananas, and those are some of our higher months in revenue minus high ad spend. So we weren't spending a lot of money on ads back then. We were spending a lot of money on ads when we went on Shark Tank. So it's hard for me to know what was purely Shark Tank and what was like ad revenue.
All right, cool. All right, guys. I want to remind you again as we.
I didn't answer Angela's question. She asked me how did I make the transition from hiring people.
Oh yeah. How'd you get your team prepared for the shift?
Everyone started as contractors, even me. And I started hiring one person per department and letting them get really good at that. So I started in customer service while I was still making the product. Then I hired my cousin in production to make our actual products. Actually, it went from me to Tim to my cousin. So I passed out somebody I could really trust with the product and somebody I could really trust with the customers. Those were like the first two like super key hires. And I was doing the marketing. And I know people be so they want to outsource the marketing. But if you're not making your product, then all you are is a marketing agency. And if you don't know how to market and sell, you're going to run into problems at some point. So you really got to figure out that marketing in-house. Doesn't mean your ad buying has to be in-house, but you got to become a really good marketer. I believe that, truly, especially if you're going to be an internet company.
All right. I love it. All right. Kim, I told you last question, but this is the last one for real. Because somebody asked this, and I think it's a good one to go out on. Somebody asked, could you explain your vision for listener brands being the next Procter & Gamble?
Yes. No, thank you. Thanks for teeing me up. That's what I meant to mention.
That's what we're here for. It's what I do.
Yes. So I know people will look at us and say, oh, like Black haircut company, I've seen it before, right? But what I think is important to mention is that we did 6 million only online. We are not in any retail, which means that we could quickly expand the business if we said yes to Sephora, HSN, or Target, or Walmart, or whoever, right? Because people have reached out. So we just have not done those deals yet. And so my vision for the company is to build brands in overlooked segments, right? So Wash and Go's was an overlooked segment. I think since we've proven the segment for it or proven the market for it, we've had a ton of people kind of like come in and kind of try to mimic what we're doing. You'll see Wash and Go as a conversation everywhere, but it was not like that in 2017. And so we did that same thing with 4C Only. 4C Only is the first hair care brand dedicated to 4C women. And it puts them at the forefront because a lot of times afros are not on the big billboards, right? It's always like defined coils, and your hair doesn't have to be defined. And so we saw that overlooked segment. 4C hair is one of the most searched terms, but nobody was willing to put it on a bottle because that meant that it would alienate other people, right? So it's just like, I don't want to say Black, I want to say person of color. Like that's what brands are doing, right? And so for 4C Only, we wanted to put 4C women and highlight them. And I think we can do that in other areas. It doesn't have to just be hair. So my vision is that we can be like the Black-owned Procter & Gamble. And what I want you guys to know is like Procter & Gamble owns 100+ brands. They own Tide. They own Old Spice. They own, I think it was Always Maxi Pads. They own, I think it was Charmin Tissue. I can't remember, but they own like a bunch of brands. And they started as a soap and candles company in the 1800s and eventually became traded on the stock market in 1970. And so you can just look at their trajectory, right? So in the pandemic, their stock shot up because everybody was buying tissue. And so I think what is important for people to realize is that CurlMix is not just a hair care brand. It's not that we're just a hair care brand. We are listener brands and listener brands, multiple brands. And I wanted to build 4C Only so people can prove that we can do this again. And 4C Only currently is on track to do $1 million this year. So that's my proof that like we can build brands and overlook segments of the market. And my goal is to be like Procter & Gamble and trade on the stock market. Thank you, Lamar. He's sharing the 4C Only homepage.
Yep. So that right there is the other brand she is mentioning right now, 4C Only. It's seen as all these places. So guys, again, right, we got the link down below. It is pinned down below. If you would like to become an investor in CurlMix, you can go to wefunder.com/CurlMix. I'll pull it up right here so you can see that as well. And we're here a few minutes ago. Let's take a refresh, see where we at. Drum roll, please. All right, we've grown, right? We're at $2,812,687. Kim, any last words you want to give to the people before we wrap?
I really believe that you guys should own the brands that you're building and supporting. Because let me just say this real quick. Every time you share a product, every time you add a brand on social media, every time you purchase their product, you are creating value. When you purchase that product, that company does a higher revenue for that year, right? And then the higher revenue leads to a higher valuation. And that higher valuation leads to their acquisition price. So when they're sold for whatever. And y'all don't get none of it. Like, we don't get none of it, right? Like, and this is your chance to own a piece of it. This is your chance to get value every time you share a CurlMix post, right? And this, I can't guarantee this opportunity will be available in the future. And I really care about y'all and I want y'all to get in. So definitely check out wefunder.com/CurlMix and bet on black.
All right. I love it, y'all. Hey, if do me a favor, if you are one of the investors, drop investor down in the chat. We want to see who you are, right? We want to show some love. Kim, thank you for what y'all are building, right? I want to thank you on a few fronts. Thank you for coming and sharing with the entrepreneurs because, like I said, you're very open and transparent. We're sharing numbers and things like that. Where oftentimes people don't do it, especially black folks, especially don't do it, right? But it's a need for that because all of it helps all of us grow as we kind of move, through the process. In addition, I wanted to thank you for the people of Chicago. You guys are hiring people from the own community, which is something that's near and dear to my heart, right? I always say that, it's on us to lower black and brown unemployment. So I applaud you guys for giving people jobs in your actual community, right? And looking out for that. And just to having a vision for what you guys are doing to grow and scale, right? And move this thing as big as it's going to be as it moves into becoming the next Procter & Gamble. So thank you, Kim, for joining us. We appreciate you. Y'all, make sure you go to wefunder.com/CurlMix. Make sure you visit the brand sites, CurlMix.com and 4COnly.com. And, show Kim some love in the chat. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Lamar. I love being here. See you guys.